All right, now it is time for our top five segment, man. And this week, with us being in the midst of the holiday season, we're going to be talking about our top five current favorite holiday movies. Man, oh man, it's that time of year, man. It's that time of
It is
year.
indeed.
It feels so good. It feels so good. Christmas tree's already up, lights are already out. The Christmas village is along the bar area. We're
Yes,
super excited about this. It's just a happier time of year, man.
it is. I'm already drinking out of my Christmas cups. It's Christmas music 24/7 is already on the radio everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible to not be in the Christmas mode. Plus, we likely won't have shows around that time, so we wanted to make sure we got these in there so you guys know what will we be watching. What are our go-tos when we're not on the air with you guys? So here they are.
Here they are, man. Here they are. Well, my number five goes to Mickey's Once Upon a Time of Christmas. Now, if you guys don't know about this film, it's an animated film, of course, by Disney, of course, centered around Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and the Goof. And this freaking movie tells three stories, three Christmas stories that are very beloved. And each one of them is like its own individual compact little short film. And
Yeah.
what it does is show you many different like approaches and aspects of the holiday season that you yourself might get into or like mentally start thinking about different things. So for example, the Goofy one, which is one of my favorites, the Mickey Mouse one's my favorite. But the Goofy one is about just a dad trying to take care of his son who doesn't know if Santa's real or not. So he keeps trying to give him that holiday spirit and pick him up. And then, of course, by the end, it happens. You know, he gets to see Santa, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. And then the Donald Duck one is awesome because it's when the kids freaking wish that Christmas was every day. And then they realize making Christmas every day takes away the joy, this making it special, you know, the beautiful family time that you cherish so deeply because if something great happens to you every day, like it doesn't become as special. So I mean, they kind of really dive into that one. And then the Mickey Mouse one, which is my favorite, Mickey and Minnie, the true love story that we all aspire to be, just trying to afford a nice Christmas gift for each other. I mean, that's really the biggest thing, man. It to the point where Mickey and Minnie both sell something they love so they can get that person something they need, and then they in turn sell both the things that they love to get the other person what they need, and then they don't have, you know, the actual item anymore. But it's more about, you know, just being together on Christmas or the holidays, whatever holidays you celebrate, and just spending time with each other because that's really all that matters. The gift
Oh
giving
yeah.
is nice and the receiving is nice, but it's really just about the family time and cherishing this time of year because it's very important. Because I mean, how many Christmases do we have left? You never know when your life is going to end. Not to get very deep in this podcast, but you know. Um, but yeah, I love this film. I love the short stories. Disney always creating some beautiful classics that you can cry, laugh, and relate to. So yeah, Mickey's Once Upon a Time of Christmas.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, if you guys don't know, you don't make a whole lot of money working on the steamboat.
Mm-hmm.
So Mickey had to get it together. He had to figure it out. I love that though, and all of mine fall into that same thing. Mine are all family oriented. They're family related. They're about the meaning of family during the holidays, and that's why I think I gravitate and love all these so much. My number five is A Bramble House Christmas. This one is about a man who now is a successful storybook artist and author who lost his dad early, didn't have a good relationship with his dad, and missed out on the family dynamic of Christmas, and there was a lot of bitterness and anger there. But in reality, he didn't know the story about why the dad walked away and why it was the way that it was. And over the course of this movie, he learns that through a nurse that worked with his dad up until his death. it's just a beautiful Christmas story about a young mother and her son who are struggling and is gifted this money by the guy who's dying, and the author gets pissed because he's like, that's my inheritance and my dad should have given it to me. And you get all that animosity because he didn't have a good relationship with the dad, but then over the course of it you learn the importance of family and what the dad sacrificed for his kids. It wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing. It's kind of a thing. And so yeah, anytime that you can get a movie that's centered around Christmas and the meaning of Christmas and spending it together, and then like you said, because this story really emphasized, we don't know when our last Christmas is. We don't. So to hold an animosity or to hold a grudge on something that may or may not even be true, and prevent yourself from having that quality time with your family, that's terrible. And so this movie really emphasizes the fact that it's time to move on and find forgiveness and happiness and spend the holidays together. And they do it in a brilliant little way with this dynamic between these two families. And it turns out that Bramble House is so important because the dad spent his young Christmases at the Bramble House. And so now they're all back at the Bramble House, full circle. So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, A Bramble House Christmas, my number 5.
Great pick, man. Great pick. Well, my number 4 goes to Eight Crazy Nights. This is an animated pick by Adam Sandler. And man, oh man, it's freaking hilarious. If you guys haven't seen this one, it's awesome. It centers around Hanukkah. So it's always nice to, like we talk about, entertainment is the best form of education. So to be able to learn more about the Jewish culture and what they celebrate on Hanukkah, I think that's very cool. But to give you a little IMDb description about this film, Davy Stone, our main protagonist, who is played by Adam Sandler, an alcoholic with a criminal record, is sentenced to community service under supervision of an elderly referee who is kind of like a mentor character named Whitey. And Davy is faced then with trying to reform and abandon his bad habits. But there you do get a lot of backstory in that, to where he was orphaned as an 11-year-old child and, had to give up basketball, had to grow up real quick because his parents died in a car accident. So basically, from 11 years old to where he's at now, where the film is set, he is still mourning. He's still trying to get over what had happened to him when he was a kid. So what this film does is show you that no matter if it's family or not, people will help you get over bad experiences. And especially around the holidays, everybody feels extra nice. So that's always nice. But yeah, it's a great film. It's a good comedy. It's a good animated adult comedy, I would say, because there is some risque stuff in there, but it's still one of my favorites. So yeah, number 4 for me, Eight Crazy Nights.
Nice, nice. Can't go wrong with Adam Sandler and the holidays. It's always a good one. Always a good one. My number 4 is a new one. It's a relatively new one on my list because this is our current. This one was from last year, and it's a brilliant film, regardless of holiday or not. But it takes place over the Christmas break at a university. I'm, of course, talking about The Holdovers. This one, if you guys don't know, it's about a group of kids who really don't have real great relationships with their families, and they're kind of left at the boarding school over the Christmas break. And there's a professor who's also not really socially liked amongst the whole group of people or whatever. And he's kind of tasked with watching them over this break or whatever. It stars, obviously, a huge cast. Paul Giamatti, Dominic Sessa, Davine Joy Randolph, Carrie Preston. All Oscar-worthy performances in this bad boy. Davine actually won. It's a brilliant film, but what I really like about this one is this is one where it shows that family isn't always necessarily blood. This group of odd little individuals come together and spend this holiday, and they help each other get through things, and they become a family throughout the film. And it's very touching. It's very emotional. And it's just one of those feel-good movies where it doesn't matter where you're at in life, what you're going through, how you're viewed by other people. Somebody's going to find you. Somebody's going to see you. You're going to fit into that clique, and you're going to be okay. And I think that's the main thing from this movie that I really took away from it, is like, everybody's got somebody. You just got to find them. And this group of people that didn't think that existed it existed for them, and they all end up becoming better individuals for it by the end of the movie. Even though they all kind of go their separate ways, which I don't know. This one was really sentimental to me. I just really gravitated it to it for some reason. But if you haven't checked it out, which what you've been living under a rock the past year and a half, number 4, The Holdovers. Check it out, guys.
Fantastic pick, man. Fantastic. Yeah, I almost put that on mine as well. I was really close. Um, Number 3 for me goes to The Holiday. Man, oh man. I just recently watched this a couple years ago for the first
Oh,
time. My
really?
wife Emily introduced it to me. Yes, and beautiful film, man. I absolutely love it. Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, Jude Law, Jack Black, and so many other freaking people in this thing. Nancy Meyers did an amazing job directing this thing. She also wrote it. But I love because it's not your typical basic Christmas movie. It just centers around Christmas. That's when the time period is. And it's basically like a big house swap. You know, you need to leave your comfort zone to go find something new. And I think that's what happens here. Um, and then, of course, happens in the best time of the year. So it's just a very loving, very endearing story that, I feel like gets talked about, but doesn't get talked about enough because, like I said, it's such a great, phenomenal film. And it just shows you that Jack Black is a great freaking dramatic actor, even though this is kind of like a rom-com type of thing. But he is such a good actor.
He
Right now,
is.
I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day. I wish that he would take different roles right now because he is very in a box, but I also think he takes those roles because he can just be himself
Yeah.
while doing what he loves, and I can't be mad at him for that. Like I watched the new Minecraft trailer and I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's very Jack Black. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I cannot knock him for that. But if you guys have not checked out The Holiday, please be sure to do so. I'm sure it's on a streaming service because it is that time of year. And it's a great film. It's a great film. So my number 3, The Holiday.
Oh my God, such a great choice. Well, I can't believe you just recently came to that, but I'm not surprised that Emily introduced you to it. It's one of her longtime faves. And I'm glad you liked it because it really is a good one. My number 3, I think it's universal. If there's a single person on the face of the planet that doesn't have this on their list at some point, I don't know what's wrong with you. My number 3, Elf. Duh.
Duh.
Duh. Jon Favreau, Will Ferrell, like about a grown ass human elf that lives with Santa, comes back home to reunite with his dad, give him the true meaning of Christmas, make everything great. I don't know how anybody could watch this film and not fall in love with it from start to finish. This is everything about what family is supposed to be about, mending relationships, fixing that. This is another, again, a misunderstanding of where the dynamic and the relationship between the family was and a mending of it. And I mean, stars two legends that recently passed that we lost just recently, James Caan and Ed Asner, who, like, I mean, come on, you guys. James Caan and Ed Asner in the same film. Ed Asner as fucking Santa Claus? What? Come on! Are you kidding me? And then, this may be probably, in my opinion, and Will's done a lot of great stuff. Very serious roles, comedic roles, obviously, but this might be my favorite role ever of Will Ferrell. He just, the epitome of a grown-ass man as a childlike elf, pulling everybody together for the true meaning of Christmas. It just, how he plays off against James Caan, who's like the most gangster-ass gangster of all guys. It just works. That was brilliant by Favreau to even make that happen. This is a classic, guys. If you get through the holiday season and you haven't watched Elf, I don't even know what to say. Don't talk to me. I can't even follow you. I can't even be your friend. Like, what is going on? I'm kidding, of course. I'll just make you watch it. But yeah, guys, jump on this one. My number 3, Elf.
Yeah, great pick, man. Great pick. My number 2 goes to How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action version, of course, with Jim Carrey. It had to be on one of our lists, man.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
had to
come
be.
on. I love this thing, but I mean, Emily loves it even more. It might be her favorite holiday movie of all time as well. But I just, it's a nice family, fun movie that literally everyone can watch, and Jim Carrey's performance is like untouchable. I mean, what he was able to do as the Grinch was so funny, so much improvisation, and I just, it's one of those staples that we have to watch it every single year.
Yeah.
That and my number one, of course. But I mean, yeah, I love this film so freaking much, and of course, what's her face from Pretty Reckless.
Yeah,
So
Taylor
there it is,
Momsen.
man.
Taylor
Yeah,
Momsen,
that
little.
my number two, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I think anytime anybody figures out that little Cindy Lou Who is Taylor Momsen from
Right.
Gossip Girl and the Pretty Reckless, who's hardcore rocker now, they're like, no, and then you're like, yeah, that's little Cindy Lou Who. Quite the change.
Right.
I love this movie as well, though, and what I really like about this movie is how Ron Howard and Jim Carrey so brilliantly were able to keep everything in tone from the original beloved cartoon and yet
Yeah.
make it completely uniquely their own, right?
Mm.
Like the Grinch is the Grinch. He's straight up Boris Karloff Grinch from the cartoon, and yet Jim Carrey makes it so uniquely his own. And how they were able
Yeah.
to pull that off is brilliant because it was a risk. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you take a beloved character like that and a beloved, holiday class and try to do it, it either hits or misses, and they nailed it. Yeah, it's just brilliant film. Brilliant film. My number two, this is my official kickoff into the holidays every single year. It's it. It's a family tradition for me. I have watched it every single year for 12 years. It debuted 12 years ago, and on Thanksgiving Day or night, whatever you want to say, I watch this film. I sit down, glass of wine, kick back. I watch this film and welcome in the holidays. And the reason I say that is because back in my day, the trees weren't already up. The stores didn't have all their shit out. They weren't playing music 24/7. And the reason being is because the Thanksgiving Day parade is when Santa came. At the end
Right.
of the parade is when Santa officially arrives and Christmas starts. Now it happens like months before this, fucking Halloween when Christmas starts at this point. But the whole premise behind this, Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, that's my movie, Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, is showing what it means, the importance of keeping Christmas alive, keeping the tradition of Christmas alive, the perfect Santa Claus for the kids to see, the arrival of Santa Claus just on time, and what it means for the season and what it means going forward for the season, and the endearing part about bringing families together no matter how the year has been, this moment, that day, those floats, it's the meaning behind it. And of course it's a cute little lovey, quirky rom-com with Antonio Cupo and Autumn Reeser, but it's so beyond the little quirky rom-com love story. It's about the meaning of Christmas and what it means to bring families together in the tradition of Christmas, which I love. I mean, and that's why I do it every year. It's like the kickoff. It's like, yes, now Santa has arrived. And now, because I watch the actual Thanksgiving Day parade during the day, then I watch this
Right.
wonderful movie at night. It just seems like a no-brainer. It's a win-win. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's everywhere. It, like I said, has been out for 12 years now. You can find it somewhere. Love at the Thanksgiving Day parade. Do yourself a favor. Check it out. Check it out. That's all I'm saying.
That's it. That's it. Well, my number one should come at no surprise.
Yeah, no
I
surprise.
know we talk about all the time, we'd like to keep things fresh. We like to keep, adding things to our list that we might not have talked about before. But I mean, nothing can replace this, so I just can't. Now I'm talking about Home Alone 1 and 2. Those are my two favorite holiday films of all time. The second one is still my favorite more than the first one, but I have to put both of them on here because of freaking Kevin McAllister.
No, you have to.
Because of my boy. It's one of those films that I will watch every single year as well. That is always on the list. So I'm not going to talk about it too much because I've talked about it so freaking much on this show, and it's fine. But yeah, number one for me, Home Alone 1 and 2.
There you go. And same thing for my number one. This has been my go-to number one every time we talk about Christmas. It's the movie for me. It is the epitome of Christmas. Is Santa real? and the belief in
Mm.
Santa Claus. And I think this movie does a really good job of implying that Santa is real, but Santa is us.
Yeah.
We are Santa. We are what Santa brings. And throughout the movie, obviously, I'm of course talking about A Miracle on 34th Street. And if you guys don't know, what the fuck? A Macy's store Santa is brought to court because they're suing because he says he's the real Santa Claus. And this little girl, played by the one and only, the incomparable, the adorable, tiny at that point, Natalie Wood. Oh my God, she's so precious. That worth it right there is for the movie. But of course, Maureen O'Hara as her mom, and John Payne as Fred Galley, the Santa who gives them the home at the end and provides them all the stuff. And then of course, Sir Edmund Ginn as Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Kris Kringle. It's just a beautiful story of the real meaning, again, of Christmas. Santa's real because we make him real. Anybody and everybody is Santa Claus. And that's, now, in the movie, do you walk away going, was Chris really Santa Claus? Well, that's
right.
For you to decide. But they hint throughout that Fred is really the Santa Claus of the story that's providing for the mom and daughter, that gives
Right.
them the happy ending, kind of a thing. But, Chris is Santa. I'm going with Chris is Santa, okay? He's the real deal. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I will just say one thing. Don't watch the remake, fucking one from the 90s. Fuck that shit. Has to be the original with Natalie Wood and Maureen O'Hara. And don't watch the colorized version. It's got to be the fucking black and white version. If you're going to go for it classic. Do it the right way, how it was meant to be seen. And yeah, Miracle on 34th Street. Go to Christmas, baby.
That's right. That's right. So let us know what your favorite holiday movie is. Please be sure to comment below down in the YouTube comment section or add us on Twitter threads, all the good places. We will freaking love it.
Yes.